The topic that I'm going to discuss today is hydrolysis. What is hydrolysis? A chemical reaction that involves splitting of water molecules into hydrogen and hydroxyl ions. Let's take a look at this. When a water molecule is dissolved, it dissolves at hydrogen and hydroxyl ions. Now, these ions are very important in pharmaceutics. Why? Because firstly, there is water is a solvent. It is utilized for most of the reactions. Secondly, it is a contaminant too. The thing which we are going to talk about here is it is a chemical reaction. Why is it a chemical reaction? Let's take a look at a compound. When a water molecule will act on it, it will lead to formation and breakage of bonds. As it involves a formation and a breakage of a bond. Therefore, hydrolysis is termed as a chemical reaction. Now, there are three types of hydrolysis. First of all, we are going to talk about ester hydrolysis. Ester group hydrolyzes to form a carboxylic acid and an alcohol. Now, what is an ester group? It's the same as above. R dash C double bond O dash O dash R. This is an alkyl group, this is another alkyl group, hence it is denoted as R dash. They can be same or they can also be different. Let's study this molecule. In this, the carbonyl carbon is attached to two oxygen atoms which are very electronegative. Now these very electronegative oxygen atoms attract the electrons from the carbon. Hence, there is a partial negative charge on the oxygen atoms. As a result, there is a partial positive charge on the carbonyl carbon. Now, when there is a partial positive charge or a deficiency of electrons, if there is any molecule that is negatively charged, which means that it can be a nucleophile, which is a positive charge lover. A nucleophile, which is itself negatively charged, can act on this carbonyl carbon. This OH can come from water. Water gives hydrogen ions and hydroxyl ions. This negatively charged hydroxyl ion will act as a nucleophile and attack on the carbonyl carbon to form a bond which will lead to the formation of a carboxylic acid. This carbonyl carbon will in turn break its bond with the oxygen. This carbon-oxygen bond will break, and this positively charged hydrogen ion will form a bond with this oxygen, and this will lead to the formation of a alcohol. This ROH is an alcohol, so the ester hydrolysis leads to the formation of a carboxylic acid and an alcohol. Examples: the ester group is found in certain drugs such as aspirin, procaine, and atropine. Aspirin is mainly used in day-to-day life to maintain the blood pressure. Procaine is used mainly as an anesthetic, and atropine is used in various pharmaceutical processes, I think, etc. Second is the amide hydrolysis. Now, what is an amide? Let us study the structure of an amide. R C double bond O NH2 or R C double bond O NR2. These both are amides. Contain a carbonyl carbon, a carbonyl group along with an NH2 group. This has the same case as that of an ester. Let me label them. This is ester, this is amide, there are two electronegative atoms attached to the carbonyl carbon. One is oxygen, the other is nitrogen. It's the same as above. A partial positive charge will appear on the carbonyl carbon. As a result, any nucleophile which is itself negatively charged can attack on this carbonyl carbon to form a bond. This will lead to formation of R-C double bond O dash OH plus H positive. This bond will break plus NH3 ammonia. The same reaction will occur and a proton plus a hydroxyl ion, it will act on this partial positively charged carbon, and the reaction will lead to formation of a molecule similar to this, a carboxylic acid plus an amine, NHR2. This is an amine. These are can either be hydrogen or can other groups, other carbons. Now we have an important thing to study. Why are amides more stable than ester groups? R-C double bond O dash NH2 and the other is R-C double bond O dash O dash R. This is ester and this is amide. We can see the difference that here carbon is attached to one oxygen atom and one nitrogen atom. Here there is a difference that carbon is attached to both oxygen atoms, two oxygen atoms. Oxygen is more electronegative than a nitrogen atom. Hence, in this, the carbon will be more electron deficient. The two oxygens will attract electrons towards themselves. In this case, this bond is less polar. This carbon-nitrogen bond is less polar as compared to this carbon-oxygen bond. As a result, any bond that is less polar will be more stable. What does this mean? If a negatively charged species is present and it has to attack on either of these carbon atoms, it will attack very easily on this because this bond is more polar. This bond is less polar and the species will have to do an extra work to attack on this carbonyl atom. As a result, amides are said to be very stable as compared to the ester groups. Now the examples of the amide hydrolysis. These include drugs or substances which have amide groups in them. Amide group, the C double bond O dash NH2 group. These are lidocaine, paracetamol, chloramphenicol. Chloramphenicol is an antimicrobial antibiotic. Paracetamol is used in various factors which include like if we have fever or if we have to get rid of the pain, it is used as painkiller and other various purposes. Ring hydrolysis. The third type is the ring hydrolysis. It involves a breakage of or the cleavage of a beta-lactam ring. The beta-lactam ring is a cyclic ring and it can be broken upon the attack of a hydrogen or a hydroxyl ion. Ring hydrolysis. It involves a beta-lactam ring which is a cyclic amide. It's important because these groups are present in penicillin and cephalosporins. These are one of the most important groups that can be found in various antibiotics and are responsible for most of the drugs. A beta-lactam ring has this kind of structure. It contains a C double bond O dash NH bond. Now the examples of the beta-lactam or the ring hydrolysis are as follows. These beta-lactam groups or the cyclic structures are present in drugs, benzodiazepines, pilocarpine, penicillin and cephalosporins. Now that we have studied hydrolysis and its types, its mechanism, we should get an idea that we have to take care of our pharmaceutical drugs that are sensitive to water vapors. Therefore, for powders, capsule and granules or any drug in solid form, we can take certain measures. While we are manufacturing our product, there should not be present any water vapors. Otherwise, the drug will be contaminated and it will lose its effectiveness. The second thing is packing. While we are packing our drug, we should be mindful of the fact that there should not be any water vapors present in the packing. Otherwise, our product will be ruined. Another important factor is the storage of pharmaceutical drugs. We should be mindful of our surroundings where we are storing our drugs. There should not be moisture or water vapors or any sort of contaminant that can contaminate our drugs or hydrolyze them. We can also use desiccants. Desiccants are substances that can absorb water vapors. As a result, our pharmaceutical drugs and medicines can be safe from any sort of moisture. Second is the liquids. How can we save our liquid dosage forms from any sort of hydrolysis? First of all, we have to maintain the pH. How can we maintain pH? Using buffers. Buffers are solutions that resist any change in the pH. Therefore, they can be very stable towards hydrolysis and any kind of contamination. Another thing is micellar solubilization. In micellar solubilization, our active ingredient is present inside the micelle. Therefore, it is very hard for water vapors to act upon the micelle and contaminate our active ingredient. Another thing is making dry suspensions. We can create dry suspensions and then instruct our patient or anyone who is buying a drug to create the emulsions and the solutions on their own. Therefore, the hydrolysis of our liquid dosage forms can be prevented. Another thing is refrigeration. Refrigeration prevents moisture and attack of certain water vapors on the liquid dosage form, hence protecting them against any kind of hydrolysis.